Are you a loan officer who's taking real estate agents to coffee to grow your business? Well, I'm telling you, you're going to want to listen to this interview with Allison Larson as she walks through how she's skipping that step, but being the go-to resource for her real estate agents to really come up with the best strategies, not only that are helping her close more consistently, close at higher conversion rates. Allison is closing 20 loans a month, and she's not doing it with Realtor coffees. She's doing it with way better tactics and techniques that she's going to talk about in this conversation. Join me and Allison Larson.
Everyone to the Loan Officer Mastermind. I am Todd Bookspan, the founder of Win by Noon. And for 10 years, Dave Savage and I and Deborah Bird have been here every Friday, hopefully delivering value to you and the community. I am really excited to introduce today's guest. But of course, before I bring her on, I got to bring on my brother from another mother, Mr. Dave Savage. What's up, sir?
Hey, what's up, my brother? I am super pumped. Of course, I'm always super pumped. I actually watched a video that I did the other day, and I'm like, I always start off with how excited I am, but it's real. I am super excited, Allison. It was great to catch up with you on a personal note. Todd, I've got a lot to ask Allison and a lot to talk about. I do want to remind everybody in the mastermind, the more questions you present, the funner it is. Like, we as speakers have more fun when you're engaging, when you're sharing feedback. So please ask questions in chat. Todd, why don't you kick it off with a formal interview or formal opening?
I do want to say, Dave, that's one of the things that I admire and respect about you is that you are always super pumped. You're the person that anytime that we're together, you're just such a ball of positivity. And I think that is such a great quality, right? To always be that shining light in the room. And speaking of shining lights, Allison Larson is our guest. Whenever I see Allison do a post, I'm going to watch it. Allison is, I think, first and foremost, a mother, right? She's a mother who takes business so seriously, but also makes sure that she spends time being a family person. She's got a great husband who I've had the pleasure to meet at some events, and really is someone who's really built a business by design. You know, one of the few people, her team and my team are at the same mortgage company. So I love that. I look at our region for the first half of the year, and there's only one name that's above ours, and it's Allison. So she is a gamer, and she also is doing this certainly with a smaller team than I had. She always asks me, how big is your team? And so the bottom line is that she is a producer who is crushing it, but also make sure that she gets home in time to be with the family. She's an entrepreneur. She's got a great new Facebook group that she's going to talk about. She's got a cool new product she rolled out that we'll make sure that we mention as well. But as always, we're excited you're all here, but I'm super excited to introduce my friend, Allison Larson.
Thank you, Todd. Yeah, Matt Baker is always giving me a run for my money on the leaderboard. I'm like, I got to get 2 more loans or I'm going to lose my first place spot.
What
right.
I haven't dipped below 20 loans in a month year to date.
Woo!
For personal production. And even some of my own loan officers that I coach in our branch are now giving me a run for my money too. I've got Katie Stockert and Rachel Robo, if either of you are on. They both have 1 more loan than me for July right now. So I'm like, was scrapping together, talking mortgage at a dinner party last night to see if I can do a cash out refi for somebody. We're doing it. I'm in it.
Right on. Actually, Shayla connected me with Katie recently, and I've interviewed Katie before, but
Yep.
I'm currently in scheduling with her. She is one of the top mortgage coaches at Guild. I don't know if you knew that, but she's a big mortgage coacher. And by the way, it's been a pretty big Guild week in mortgage coach land. I interviewed Dietrich. I always have a hard time with his last name. I was having a conversation with one of the sales leaders at Fly Homes, which is a company that specializes in buy before you sell. And I had asked him, hey, who's the lender that's doing the most of those? And he's like, Guild, I think, is our biggest customer. And I'm like, oh, who's the loan officer in the region doing the most of those? Because I wanted to hear how they were using Mortgage Coach to do it. And Casey Oynes Group and Dietrich specifically are doing more of those than other people. So check it out. It's a master class in how to present the buy before you sell strategy to a consumer. And then he also spoke to how he does that with realtors. Any thoughts or comments on that?
That is a large part of my scripting of getting in front of realtors right now and my strategy on it. So when you had sent me the video ahead of time, I'm already halfway through it and I had to pause it to get on here. And I was like, I can't miss this because this is really good. So everyone, after you're done with this, go find the video and watch it. It's really, really good. And if you haven't connected with Sam at Fly Homes, he's come in to speak to our region, to my branch multiple times, specifically to my team. we're pinging him with one-off weird scenarios every other day. Like, can we make this work? What about this? And it's creating a lot of momentum and a lot of conversations in the marketplace.
Sweet. Well, I will put a link to this video when I'm not talking in chat. Sam's contact information is in, like, if you're watching it on YouTube, there's show notes, and at the bottom, it's got his number. It's also got an actual example of how Dietrich is using Mortgage Coach to present options. So,
And it's one of those, he had to come speak to our group twice because it really seemed too good to be true that I kept thinking I was missing something in it. I'm like, this can't, they're just going to pay $2,500. We're going to remove their contingency. This can't be it. And it's an awesome product.
yeah. And one last thing on, well, maybe not one last thing, because if you say you do a lot of this, I would love, because it's a big market opportunity. I mean, first-time home buyers and move-up buyers. And I'm also hearing the niche of first-time sellers are a real target that's coming up a lot in my interviews, but it's a big deal. So maybe I know you want to talk about a lot of different stuff, but let's just talk
Yeah.
about, if you've done 20 loans every month this year, you're winning. So what if you had to think of the 2 or 3 strategies that are helping you win, what would you say they are?
Unique conversations. I think when like our businesses go like this, and sometimes we've been doing the same strategy that worked 3 years ago, 5 years ago. Now in this market, I feel like the strategy is moving every 6 months. Like I used to, even a year ago, I stood on stages and talked about my 2-time close with realtors. I'd go meet them for coffee. And then as I'm leaving the coffee, my next step was to book a Zoom meeting with them and do a formal business presentation. Now I feel like the market's moving so fast, I can't even get to both meetings. I need to just skip the fluffy meeting and the coffee meeting and go right to a Zoom presentation. And the way I'm doing that right now is actually calling my listing agents, and they don't know I'm talking about fly homes, but that's the product I'm talking about. And I'm calling when I'm doing my first Tuesday update call. I'm telling them about the process. They're a captive audience because they haven't gotten paid yet, and I hold their paycheck in my hand. So it's the only time they're going to answer my call. And I ask, "Oh my gosh, so do you work closely with a lender now?" Get that out of the way. "Oh yeah, I do." "Oh, that's awesome. Do you do mostly buyers or do you mostly selling, mostly listings?" They'll say, "I do mostly listings." Why do they say that? Because they don't really want you to ask them to coffee, right? I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that's perfect. I'm meeting with all of my listing agents right now, and we're actually helping them a ton when they have a client where they get an offer that has a contingency, or they have a client who has contingencies before they can close on their next home. We're helping remove those contingencies." Do you ever have that happen where there's contingencies in the market? They say yes. Excellent. Could we hop on Zoom for 15 minutes even later today? I'd love to show you what we're doing. And I don't purposely bait and switch them into a different meeting, but on that first part of the meeting, I do just review how we could help them remove contingencies. And then if the conversation naturally flows, which normally it does, and they're still interested, I'm like, "Tell me what else, how did you build your business? Tell me about you." Just the normal rapport building questions. "Tell me about your lender partnership." "Cool, let me tell you about why we're a little different than what you currently work with." I don't have to be everyone's BFF. I have a lot of BFF realtors. I've done really well in that part. Now I need to add more of the transactional. Yes, I need a solution for XYZ loan, and I'm going to call Allison.
So when you say unique conversations and then you describe the conversation you had, like, that wasn't just a unique conversation. That was a big market problem where
Mhm.
I think you articulated the problem better than most. And then you have solutions for that problem that are very specific. First of all, are there other, just call it unique conversation,
Yeah.
problem conversations that are your go-tos, and
My
it's a,
my three go-tos are down payment assistance. The big issue with first time home buyers is they don't have the money, or if they do have the money, they're tight on monthly payment. But if I can show them a solution where they don't have to spend all their money and they can keep it in the bank, and then that helps them offset the monthly payment, it's more likely to get them into a home. So that's one conversation. Two conversations is removing the contingencies. And my third conversation is non-warrantable condos.
interesting. So that's kind of a market centric one. Would you, I mean, they're all
Yeah, if
markets,
you're
they're all market
rural,
centric, but your local
yeah,
market, like that's not
yes.
like, but I do think the two go-tos that you said first, I mean, every loan officer in every market that remove contingencies and buy before you sell, it's going to be relevant in every market
Relevant
America.
everywhere. But
And
also, I think people really underestimate if you, right now, if you have townhomes in the middle of nowhere in Wisconsin, is it possible they're non-warrantable? Yeah. And that's most of them are labeled as condos. They have a CIC and no one's touching them besides small local banks, or they just go sit on the market for 300 days because no lender can get them done. So anything that has an HOA, I tell the agents, if you even know a client who might want to sell their condo one day, I'd love to know who runs the HOA and be in contact with them to be a resource. People aren't having proactive conversations. I've done this for years, and now it's come to a point where I'll have I have whole HOAs that refer me every single time someone's buying in the building, and I haven't talked to them in 5 years. I'm not keeping in touch with them. I'm just the only lender that has ever contacted them.
wow, that's awesome. Let's jump on that first time home buyer one real quick because I was on a first home IQ webinar on Wednesday, and it was all about how to fill the room. It was specifically a digital room, like doing first time homebuyer workshops. We had a loan officer jump in. By the way, I just shared a link to that on YouTube. Mark Bowie, who's going to do about 50 million this year, or actually, I think he's on track for 60 million if I'm going from memory. But he had recently done a webinar. He'd partnered with CAFA. Anyways, in California, it's an FHA program,
Oh,
which is
okay. Yeah.
I'm saying it wrong. But it was a flashback to what you said, where he was leading with a special affordability down payment assistance program that
Mhm.
was local to the market, and he had over 130 or 40 people sign up for it. He had 100 show up to it, and he did it because he had a headline and he had a special product, and then he did a whole webinar around it. So by the way, check it out. It was a mastermind style conversation. Are you doing any in-person or digital events for first-time home buyers?
Not directly. So most of my business is always geared towards the realtor. So if I'm teaching a webinar, it's going to be teaching on a loan product for the realtor to go talk about it to their client, how to explain it better, how to tell a story, or how to spot these people in the wild that might need this type of loan product. Everyone has their different like special sauce in the business, whether it's webinars directly to consumers or webinars to realtors or whatever it is. And I've just found if I stick with my same special sauce and I stay lasered focus on it, I get the most out of it instead of trying to pivot to these different things. So really any playbook, you can take it and apply it towards your specific audience that you're laser focused in on. And that's what I've done.
Yeah, no, that makes sense for your model. If anyone is listening to this and you are doing either in-person first-time homebuyer workshops or digital, let me know in chat. Let me know city, state. I'm doing both. I'm doing one. I am looking for more success stories around that strategy. Well, let's go back to the move up strategy just because you were using that. I could probably do a whole interview with you on like, how do you present it? But give us how you're top of funnel. How are you using it as a lead magnet to get realtors to give you business? If you could just describe that in a little bit more detail.
I think most realtors are nervous and a little intimidated by their clients, and they have a very false sense of reality of just how qualified these clients are. So I try every single time I get a client who uses this type of loan product, I remember their story, like how I would spot them in the wild. So right now, when I talk about move up buyers, I talk about and also who's my ideal client. So I talk about your young family who maybe bought when they first got engaged. Now they've had two, maybe three kids since then, quickly, and they're busting at the seams. The husband is very crystal clear that the wife wants to murder him most days because there's not enough room in their house. And the husband's feeling the pressure of like, well, we've got daycare bills and daycare costs, and you want to drive a brand new Range Rover. So I don't know how we're ever going to save up 20% and our equity is trapped in our house, or we're just tight with two. And how in the world are we going to show this house when we've got kids who nap all day on a Saturday? We're going to go get a hotel for a weekend. And when you just tell a story like that to a realtor, they can instantly go, I can think of one client like that, two clients like that, three people my kids go to school with like that. And they don't have to go sell the product for you. They just connect you with the right people who need the product. Are you worried about showing your home when you've got little kids at home? Maybe they say no, and that's great and easy, and they don't need the product. Or maybe they say yes, and I'm the one loan officer who gave them a different solution. I think we all need to be very prepared. Even if a client is not telling you they're shopping you, everyone is shopping you. If they have a phone and they open their phone, they are shopping you because they've applied for a mortgage and they're being targeted by every company that exists on different options for them. You are always being shopped, even if it's not actively, it's passively. So you have to be prepared for that. And if we're not showing up with the most excitement and energy and resources and options and education, we're going to lose the client potentially to someone else who reviewed the option with them.
I love that. I'm going to play a little 90-second clip from a previous interview I did with Jeremy Forcier, and he was teaching a script to realtors. So when you hear this, it's Jeremy talking to a realtor and teaching them how to get move up leads out of their database. So I want to play it because I think it's rad, and
I know the exact clip you're talking about. Yeah.
And I want the audience to get value from it because not everybody has seen it on others. But I also am sharing it because I want to inspire you to like play off of it. And if there's some other things that you're doing that's helping get more leads from realtors or helping realtors get leads, which is a superpower, I'm going to ask play this real quick. Hopefully you're going to hear it. If you're not hearing it, let me know. And here goes.
You need to know what they purchased the house for. Okay. And you need to know what it's worth now in the minimum, your CMA, your current market analysis. If you want to go real pro, you know what they bought it for, what the value is, and what their down payment was. Okay. So there are two different scenarios. The one with the know what their down payment is, that would be like a past customer and have them call you, the lender who did the loan, or get that information from the lender that did the loan. Okay, so here's what the script sounds like. It's like, hey, Dave, it's Jeremy Forcier with a CMA real estate company. How are you? How have you been, etc. Listen, I was doing a review of people that have like done really, really well on their home purchase, and you were one of them. So when I look at it, you bought this house for $500,000, 5 years ago, and it's currently worth $750,000. That's a 50% return, like on your investment over time. You've made $250,000 like in equity. And when I look at like what you put down as far as a down payment, it says that you only put down $100,000 on this, and it's gone up 2.5 times. So you have literally made 2.5 times on that investment just over a 5-year period. Like, I'm so happy that we could have helped you with that. Hey, let me ask you this. Are you interested in creating more wealth with a bigger asset? Like, if you bought a house that was worth a little bit more, you could just do this again and keep creating more wealth faster. Is that interesting to you?
So first of all, I think that's a great script, great strategy. One, any thoughts you have, any coaching notes you have on that, like how you might have done it differently? And then let's play off of that. And does it inspire other ideas?
So my favorite thing about scripts is it gives you a framework, right? Actually, you and I were both at the same event where Jeremy talked about how you make a script. Do you remember this?
I do. Shayla's event.
It was really good.
Play with Shay.
Yes. And it was really, really good. And that's really what opened up my eyes to go, okay, how do you make a script? And Jeremy, if you listen to this, don't hate me that I'm going to butcher what you said. But it came along the lines of you take the baseline and then you add things that you say all the time and stories that you truly believe in, your own value system. And that's your perfect script. So, and this is where I think people make a huge mistake in our industry is they go try and say what Jeremy just said to their realtor. They eat their words. They don't say it quite like that. And they feel ridiculous. And then they don't pick up the phone again. I know myself. I am not as slow of a talker or good with numbers or good at following a script. So I'd call a realtor and accidentally mix up the numbers. It wouldn't make any sense and then not do it again. So I wouldn't try and do it exactly that way. I have to make it my own a little bit. And so by making it my own, I'd call my realtor and be like, hey, do you have a list of these numbers? And do you have a list anywhere of these numbers? Cool. If I were you, every person on this call who just popped that link to that video in there, I'm going to send you a badass script from a top performer in the country of how their agents are getting more business. Lean on the resources we already have. I don't have to try and pretend that I'm Jeremy or that I'm really good with the numbers or that I dreamt that up myself. We can all plug and play on each other. And so using that to just go faster, move quicker, and not have to memorize something is what I would do. And where I've had a ton of success is just by involving other people and using resources. If you follow me on my Instagram, half the time I'm sharing resources that someone else created. Like we just put together a post that'll go out next week. And it's a training from another realtor and another coaching program who I have never met in my life, but I have a recording of it. And I thought the training was incredible. So I'm talking about why it's so incredible and then offering it to my agents. I don't have to go recreate the training or pretend to be her or that I made up those taglines. I can just share what she did. Jeremy is like an industry pro that people know the name of and recognize. Maybe it even holds more power if you share his script versus trying to fumble it over it myself. So that's what I would do with it personally.
Yeah, that's great leadership on your part. You're clearly not only a successful loan officer, but a great leader and a great coach. Someone asked for a copy of Jeremy's script, and I just put a link in chat. Jeremy, that particular script and many others are on Instagram. If you aren't following it, make sure you follow it. Just go look for Jeremy, and I don't know exactly which one it is on here, but scan it and just thumb through it, and within minutes you will find it. And when Todd introduced you, he said, first and foremost, a mother. And when I think of you as a loan officer, I think of a teacher. Like I've watched you on social media. You're always teaching, and you're doing it in a really cool, unique, personal way. But do I have
But
that
it's the
right?
same thing with Jeremy. I'm like, I know my strengths. I know who I am. If I go try and be Jeremy, it's gonna fall flat. I'm definitely not Jeremy. Jeremy's just completely different than me, right? Like he's a dude. He lives in California. He's really good at numbers. He talks slow. He's like good at analyzing. That's none of those things. I'm not those
He could be a
things.
professional comedian too, guys. The guy is
He is very funny.
hilarious.
Yeah.
He's very funny.
And but for me, I'm like, okay, so I have to figure out what my strengths are and what I'm actually going to do. The biggest hurdle in our businesses is that we all know exactly what we could do, things we could say on the phone. We all have access to 5 million bajillion scripts. We could just ask Chat GPT to give us scripts. If you're not going to do it, it's not going to work. So you have to find pieces of things out in the wild and then just go, how will I actually do this? And then don't think about it anymore and just go execute on it.
No doubt. And then another thing when I think of you and just what I've watched over the years is you're a community builder. Like just hearing your description of what you do with realtors, you're building community. Seeing how you're executing on social media, you're building community. Hearing about the new Facebook group that you have, which I'm going to tee you up to share what it is, but you're building community. So first, don't you feel like to really crush it at scale, loan officers need to become community builders, and you need an Instagram community, you need an email community. You need a lot of
you need a
different
lot of
communities.
people to know who you are. Yes.
Yeah. So walk me through your big picture on community as
Yeah.
a whole as an originator, and then let's go down the funnel to, hey, and I just launched this community and this is why.
Yeah. So as an originator, my communities are, well, first of all, I built my whole business on trying to be friends with agents. And so I had to figure out a way to take friendship to business professional because that's what I needed to do to be able to
To
scale
scale and not go crazy.
and not go crazy because there's only so many people who want to be your best friend and that best friends only send you so many deals and it gets difficult. So I was like, how do I take these people and show them I'm a professional? Emails, right? I can be smart and analytical and well-spoken in an email and be dripping on them of like, oh, I saw Allison on Tuesday at lunch and we laughed about kids and motherhood and all the things. And holy crap, look at this awesome product she has over here. And then I also get to show up as a professional online, especially a female in this industry. I think sometimes it's easy to go into girl chat and friend mode and play light. Online, I can show up as a total powerhouse professional who talks about products and talks about numbers and gets into the nitty gritty. And I'm not kind of throwing up on you about it at lunch. And so it made it easier for me. So showing up as a resource for my realtors online helped me create a lot of brand awareness in my marketplace, where now it's pretty rare if I call on a realtor to meet with them, to get a Zoom with them, to get coffee with them, whatever, typically they do know who I am at this point, which is cool. My whole strategy has been go hyper local. I'm not trying to get followers from all over the country. I'm trying to get followers right here in my backyard, and I want them to be realtors. I want the audience, my every video I make is 100% targeted at realtors, whether it's for realtors to share for them to get clients, whether it's to teach a realtor something, whether it's to gain a connection with realtors, educate, entertain, show empathy, the 3 E's on social media for your target market. My target market's realtors.
Got it. Okay. So your community as a mortgage professional is realtors.
Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, all focused on realtors. We do an email every other week to all of my realtors. There's close to 2,000 realtors on the list. And then I stay in contact via text often. And then we do events every 6 weeks as well. Some of them are virtual events where I'm teaching about a loan product or a skill set. And then the others are in-person events.
Got it. All right. And remember, guys, if you have questions, put them in chat and walk us through and describe the why behind your newest community and the what it is. Why and what?
So it's interesting, actually. I'm sure most of the audience knows Shayla Gifford, our celebrity our celebrity around. I think she might have been on earlier. Her and I were talking. She went and found all these old videos from when she's my age. She's exactly 10 years older than me. So our thing is like, I'm just follow what Shayla did, and I'll also be on a boat in Europe for a month in 10 years. But had kids around the same age, all the things. It's for women originators. And she was sending me these videos, and she's sending these videos, and they're gold and it's adorable. And Shayla's young and like too thin, like she looks like she's like working too much and probably very hungry. And you could tell the way she's talking about being a mom and balance that she had a ton of shame around it. She makes these little laughing jokes in the videos like, and someday I'll be home on time and someday I'll be a good mom. And I thought that's so heartbreaking that she felt so alone and so much shame around how to balance her career and how to balance motherhood. And you see all over online people having mom guilt about things. And I'm like, I have like the opposite where I have mom guilt that sometimes I feel guilty that I'm excited to go to work and that my nanny came on Monday morning. And I think that's how a lot of women who work feel. And they have this tug and pull balance of there's the Jeremy Forciers and these powerhouse male coaches, Casey Oynes, all of these people in the world who do have a wife that goes and picks up the kids from school. And so I wanted to create a space for women where there is no shame around being a mom and wanting it all at the same time, and a space where people can openly ask questions and not worry that someone's going to judge them, and a space where we can share scripting and business building things that we can all swipe and adapt from each other, no different than men can swipe and adapt from each other. It's been fun. We started it like a month ago, and we have 273 female loan officers in the group. Kristen Dale, one of my mortgage besties, and I started it together. I didn't know if 6 people would join or 100. I did not expect 273 in 30 days. So that's really, really fun too.
So you just added another thing that you do that I think makes you very special and unique. You build whatever you want. You know, if there's not something that you want, oh, I'm going to build it. I mean, when I founded Mortgage Coach, it was built on this, hey, I wanted to deliver this incredible presentation. I wanted to do it fast and easy. I wanted to be able to hire loan officers that had good hospitality skills and like ask these questions, deliver this. And now when I really look at what you've built, and now I hear the why, which I did. I knew what you did. I heard about it, but I didn't know the why. Like, oh, you did it for yourself, and then you're building value for other people. So I love that. I think it's also a really good segue. And check it out. By the way, are there guys in it? Are guys trying to get it and you're not letting them in it? Just so we can give a message. Okay.
No men have asked to join yet, but we wouldn't let them in.
Okay, you wouldn't let, so guys, don't go. You know, like
don't go. It's for female originators, and there's amazing Facebook groups out there already. I mean, like Win by Noon has a.
No, I know. I just wanted to make sure I got a message to the guys.
Yeah. No boys allowed. It's a girls' club.
No boys allowed. I love that. By the way, I think that is just so awesome that you are creating that community of women that all share a beautiful challenge and an opportunity. I think it's, the industry needs that. So go check it out, everybody. And then I also know that you recently created a piece of technology to solve a problem. So let's do the why on that and then the what. But let's start with the why, because I think a lot of people on this call have the same problem that you're solving for. So share what you got going.
So going back in time, I have a son that turns 3 next week, Tuesday. And then I have another son who's 13 months younger than him. You do the math on that. That's a lot when you and your spouse are both self-employed, all these things. And there was a point in time, and my husband's employed. I work and I have a great career, but I wasn't always the breadwinner. And after I had my son, I came home from the office about 3 days postpartum. So yes, I was in the office 3 days postpartum, and I'm upset and I'm running loan summaries and this and that because my team only works till a certain amount and people need numbers and all this stuff. And that was the first time where my husband looked at me and was like, I'm not going to deal with you being like this forever. You wanted to be a mom so badly. Now we've got this beautiful life in front of us. And your clients running numbers and complaining about it is not going to be what sucks the life out of you. Decide if you're going to do this or if you want to quit. And I was like, you're annoying, whatever, move on. So then I just got good at hiding how annoyed I was with running summaries, being on every weekend, being on every evening. And then I found another female in the industry who I could rely on and talk to about how it feels when your kids are in the tub and someone texts you for loan summaries and you're like, I don't want to lose the deal and I want to be the best at this, but I need to keep a baby alive in the bath, right? We were sitting at a conference together and both our phones are buzzing. We're like, oh, and just complaining about how much we hate our lives essentially. And I was explaining her this vision I had of what I wanted to build and what it would look like. And what if we didn't have to run loan summaries? What if we created a experience where we set all the parameters, just like we already know the clients have, and they run their own loan summaries at 11 o'clock at night or at 2 o'clock in the morning or at noon or whatever. They can run the $5,000 increments and what if this and what if that themselves. And what if a realtor doesn't have to text me for a new approval letter after I've already sent it to them 5 times? And coincidentally, her husband has built tech companies previously. She's like, I bet you he could build us this. And so it started with her and I going, can you solve this for us? And him building it for us. And then we were like, what if we rolled this out to other loan officers? And what if we had a whole community? And so you can see in there, I've got the link for Offer Ready. That is what the technology is called. We have been up and running for a while now. We have a little over 100 users as of this morning on the platform. And the goal is to have 1,000 people welcomed into our community in the next 6 months.
Love it. Congratulations. Solved a problem that you had with tech. And then now scaling it to others. So guys, check it out. I got a demo of it. I don't know if it was this week or last week, but within 5 days and super slick, really well done. Definitely solving a problem that I know top producers have. The only coaching caveat I'll give is that, hey, if you're closing 3, really less than 5 loans a month, don't automate this. Like I really think like this is someone who's closing 20 plus loans a month and a mother. But even if she wasn't a mother that was actually closing down at, I think it's 5 or 4 or whatever time.
And Annie leaves at 4 o'clock. So every day at 4 o'clock, I'm texting my husband, sorry, I'm late again.
Even if not, like there's times to automate, times not to automate. But I think for the top producer that's trying to scale, and then I also think it's a good tool to have and use. I just think for low producers, you need to, put a human on everything you possibly can.
Anything you can interact with. And what's really cool too is there is an ability that you get notifications when someone's playing with the numbers, when someone's logging in, if a realtor requests anything, if a realtor logs in, all of that. So if you are a mid-sized producer, it gives you the ability to know who to call and what they're doing and who your low-hanging fruit is. Otherwise, we send them these PDF loan estimates and we don't know who our low-hanging fruit is. And what's been really cool, the reason Dave and I were connecting on this is because it really complements Mortgage Coach really well, right? You build the Mortgage Coach, you do your professional presentation with the client and you show them, here's why you'd purchase and here's how you're going to gain the equity. And here is the thing, but here is an easy plug and play tool now that you can use all night long at any hour of the day to go play with all of these 3 million scenarios you ponder in your head and update the taxes specifically and all that good stuff.
I want you to audit your pre-approval And it's never been more important that you have links and they're creating signals so that you know when people are looking at your mortgage coach, when people are engaging with your pre-approval experience. And it's also never important that those links are as smart as they possibly can be. They can be updated. It's one reason why we made Mortgage Coach. We can stream a video into it. We can have an interactive experience. And then I'd say most importantly, the world's gone AI. I'm going to ask Allison this question, be thinking about it. What percentage of your buyers do you think are AI powered consumers? Like they're using chat.
I would assume all of them. Okay.
Okay.
My parents my stepdad, they're both in their 60s. He's been a truck driver since the day he turned 18 for Piggly Wiggly in Wisconsin. If he is on Chat GPT, you guys, every client we have is on Chat GPT. Do I think they're like automating their whole life? No, but they use it as Google. Like my parents just talk, my mom's like, well, chat said, like, Mom, just no, those aren't the bar stools you need. I'll send you a link. Let me look on Pottery Barn this weekend. That's what chat said. That isn't the only place that sells bar stools. It's fine. But it is what they rely on. And so if we're not giving them tools and resources to give them instant gratification, they're going to chat to do it, which is what Dave and I were talking about last week. I mean, I can order my coffee that costs $4 from Starbucks and track when it's done. But yeah, I'm buying a house for $500,000 as a first-time home buyer, and I don't have instant access to the numbers.
Yeah. And it's one reason why we added AI to Mortgage Coach. So human in the loop, like loan officer in the loop. So audit your pre-approval experience. And by the way, I think I'm going to retract that coaching note where earlier I said, hey, if you're only doing 3 transactions, maybe everybody needs to have the automated pre-approval. Just
You have to make sure you're still staying engaged. You can't hand it off.
Right.
I'm spacing Mr. Thank You. What's his name? Why am I spacing on his name?
I know his name too, and I'm spacing on his name, but I can picture him.
One of the smartest things he ever said to me was, the things that make you scale are the things that aren't scalable. Me picking up the phone on a Monday and calling a client who's bummed that they didn't get an accepted offer is a really key part of my business. Letting just AI and tech do everything and thinking I don't need to call these people is ridiculous. AI is doing the dirty work for us so that we can free up our time and have impactful conversations with people all day, every day. We need to use it to scale as much as possible right now, not lean into it and think it's doing our job for us, because it's not.
And so it's never been more important that you're teaching. And by the way, teach buyers how to use AI. They don't know how to ask the right questions. And the beauty of the Mortgage Coach is when they're interacting with the Mortgage Coach AI, like what's APR, you're getting an alert, you're getting the transcript. It's saving loans. Like I talked to a loan officer the other day that presented options, didn't put in a 2-point rate buy down, but they had talked to someone at a big bank that had quoted that, and they probably would have just left him. Like he goes, they probably would have just gone radio silent on me. But they asked chat, like, hey, what about if we put two points down? He got the transcript. He was able to say, hey, I didn't show you this option because of blank and blank and blank, but I did add it as an option so you can see it. And they didn't go radio silent. And they actually didn't end up doing that program because he was able to teach and educate them. So guys, audit your pre-approval experience.
Yeah, that's a great success story. And that happens to all of us, is we don't know. We have to keep these people in our web because they're going to get tons of information. I just had a client this morning who talked to another lender and showed them a lower interest rate. And I said, well, hold on. You need down payment assistance. Are they going to give you $20,000 with that loan program? They're like, oh no. I'm like, okay, but because I built the trust in the relationship that they come back to me and we can have those conversations because I'm picking up the phone and calling them, because AI is automating most of the loan things and those things. So I actually have time to pick up the phone and call.
In fact, I'm going to look for another story. I actually got a message from a top producing loan officer in Nashville, and he tells a story that would not have happened if his pre-approval experience wasn't what I would call modernized. So check this out. I think I found it. Well, I found him. I'm looking back for that voice memo. If I can't find it, it's always good when you can actually play. Oh, here it is. Here it is. pretty sure this is it. So check this out. His name is Keith Collins. He's in Nashville. I've interviewed him multiple times. Total baller. If you don't hear this, let me know.
So it's kind of a cool story. I had a client come to me about a year and a half ago.
Can you hear it?
And did full mortgage application, had a really good connection, got them pre-approved, sent numbers, and then they went radio silent on me. I followed up 9 times in my CRM that I can see at least with voicemails, a bunch of emails and text messages, nothing. Late last night, so a year and a half goes by. I kind of wrote them off and I wasn't in active follow-up anymore. Last night, I got a notification that they opened up the TCA. I called them today, and they've already uploaded new documents to freshen everything up. They're going to sell their $800,000 house, need a realtor, and they're buying a $1.2 million home. So that little notification that they clicked on the TCA from a year and a half ago brought back a $1.2 million deal, which is, in my world, a $25,000 commission, and is going to get a referral to a real estate agent for, $2 million in business.
And so these links that we're talking about and this modern pre-approval experience makes you money and saves you time. Any thoughts on that?
One thing, if you guys caught, how many times did you say you followed up? 9 times? And then
That was baller.
So, but here's what I tell people now. I set the stage at my pre-approval meeting. I say, here's the deal. Your life is going to get busy, and I'm going to continue to reach out to you. And what will naturally happen is if you're not excited about buying a house, you will, that day, you're just going to forget to respond to me. But please know this, if in 2.5 years from now, on a random Tuesday, the perfect house pops up and you feel bad that you've ghosted me for 2.5 years, I don't care. I'm here when you're ready. What that does for me is it gives me permission to keep contacting them even when they don't reply without me feeling like a weirdo. And it gives them permission to not feel shame that they forgot to reply to me for 2 years and they can still come back to me and I'm not offended. Because if I had seen some facial girl or hair girl or something like that, and she kept following up with me for appointments and then I never replied, I'd feel like I'd be like, oh, like a little bit of shame that now I'm going back. Like, I feel bad. She probably hates me. This is weird. I'll just go to someone else. I'm just going to leave that space. And if I say it, then I'm like, well, I already told them I'm going to keep following up. I don't need to ask. I don't need to feel weird. I'm just going to keep contacting them for years until they tell me no. And with the modern tech stack, you should be able to pretty effortlessly be contacting these people for years without it being a lift.
Yeah. And make sure you're getting signals and you're using links as often as possible.
Yes.
So we're in the fourth quarter, got 15 minutes left. And I really want to kind of shift this to strategic in mindset, because you said something earlier, like everybody knows what they need to do. And you are a community builder. You are a teacher. And there is a mindset you have that is fueled by beliefs, principles, philosophies. And so I'm going to ask you some questions on what do you think some of those beliefs are. Before I do that, just to kind of warm you up and get you thinking, one of like my value prop, and I can't remember, I think it was like 1991, was my advice makes a difference. And when I created Mortgage Coach, it was to make that not bullshit. You know, it's like, my advice makes a difference. Let me show you. And so that belief, by the way, I would not have started the Mortgage Coach YouTube channel, and I wouldn't be here today interviewing you, 15 years later and 10 years doing this mastermind, if I wasn't really serious about being someone whose advice makes a difference. Because I interview all these top people, my advice makes a difference. That's not bullshit. So with that said, what are some of the beliefs, philosophies, principles that drive Allison Larson to be a community builder and a teacher?
For me, it's definitely trying to understand other people. And I think that what stops us is a lot of times our own insecurities. So one of my things I every single day just believe about every client, every realtor, every loan officer in the world, every business owner, everyone, is always believe positive intent. I believe if someone asks me for something or asks a question, it's positive intent. I believe if someone doesn't call me back, it's probably because maybe they were going to give me bad news that they didn't like us, and it's positive intent that they didn't want to call and tell us. And just always go blindly into every day assuming everyone has positive intent. We take on the negative of too many people. It is too loud out there. If you cut out the noise and assume positive intent, you have a lot more freedom and flexibility and just airiness in your day to pick up the phone and shed positive light on somebody else. People feel your positive energy. Sales is a transfer of energy. If I make you feel good, you like to pick up my phone call. If I don't make you feel good, and every time I call you, it's complaining that this client left me or your client's not calling you back or whatever, you don't want to hear from me. So just assume positive intent and be really clear on what it is that you're trying to accomplish. We all hear the gap, not the gain, but what does that really mean to you? Every single day you can control your controllables. I can control how many people I call. I can control my energy throughout the day. I can control the impact I make on those who pick up the phone. I can't control if someone falls out of contract during inspection. I can't control if someone leaves us because of interest rate, because some dude in Iowa is doing loans for $500 loan. I can't. So I don't try and control it. I only focus on my controllables. And if we just really, really laser in on those things and just move the needle forward a little bit every day, you look back in a year and the needle moved a lot. I was not a big producer in 2020 or 2021. I was not one of these people who did 150 million on refi business. I didn't even have anyone to refinance. I had never done a loan over 4%. I'm younger. And so I got like, that was my opportunity. Every day I woke up and was like, this is my chance to make it, because all these other suckers are doing refinances and printing money, and I'm not. I get to call in all their realtors. But if I hadn't seen the positive light in it, I'd probably still be stuck at 20, 30 million. Instead, I stacked to 50 million and then 70 some million and then 90 some million. And this year I'll bust through 100 million, no problem. Mostly just all on purchase business or fostering positive relationships with my past clients.
Guys, let's give a reaction. I love that rant. It was about 5 minutes. I would urge people to go back and take some notes, because she shared a number of personal codes that she has. Her focus on positivity and being the light. In my personal code, I think most people know now, I'm writing a book called The Savage Code. I have a little note to self saying, be the sun. And there are people now, like, I live in this world and I've trained myself my entire adult life to be the sun. Now, by the way, there are moments I am not the sun. My wife can tell you that. But I course correct quickly, because I have this, documented, be the sun, be the light. And I'm attracted to people like that, regardless of their wealth, regardless of what business they're in. If like they're sun people, I'm attracted to that. But she said, control the controllables. And by the way, everybody's heard that. Everybody on this call knows that. But there's two pieces, like, what's your code and are you living your code? And so I want anyone who is on this call right now and you're thriving, you're just fired up, you're beating your goals, your production is more than last year. I want you to do a little analysis, like why, like what are you doing and what can you do more of there? And then I'm sure the majority of people on this call and the majority of people in the mortgage business are not hitting their goals. They're not, living their best selves. I want you to do an audit on your code, like document your personal code, and then again, have a great code, live a great code. So also, we've, in the last 8 minutes, and I know, you came to this with ideas to share, things you wanted to talk about. Is there anything we haven't covered that you want to make sure this audience gets today?
We talk about the things we all know we need to do and control the controllables. But I think one thing that gets in our way is we hear things like that and you're like, yes, I'm going to go make my calls on Monday. I'll do it. Okay, I'll call my realtors. I know I need to do it. And there's something that stops us from doing it. I think everyone needs to be really honest with themselves the second half of the year and just figure out what's stopping you from doing it and fix it. For me, for a long, long time, I sucked at calling all my realtors, because there was some people on my list that I was supposedly supposed to call every single week, and it felt really unnatural and fake for me to call them every single week. So it's like, what if I just redo my lists and I call them once a quarter? What if I have a whole list of people that I'm really just transactional with, and I know they don't want to hear from me every week, which is why I feel weird calling them every week. And I just make a plan where I only look at this list once a quarter and I only call them once a quarter, and I block one day on my calendar once a quarter where I call these people. That was it. And all of a sudden now I make my phone calls. There's little things that are just silly and trivial that are blocking us from our success. And we have to figure out what they are, spot them, and push them out of the way so that you can keep going forward.
Love that. All right, guys, I want to remind everybody many of you are live. We had a great live audience today, although I would love more questions from you guys. If it's not too late, if someone has a question for us.
I see some familiar names in here. I see some people from my team. I see Miss Lucy Thornton, who I love, who's an offer-ready user. I see some previous Go Coaching students. I see Kaylin on here and Dee on here. All sorts of fun ladies on here. A bunch of them I know are already in the Facebook group as well.
I love that. Go, go. So any closing thoughts you have, just knowing the conversation that we've had today with this audience of loan officers and managers and industry leaders, any closing thoughts you want to make sure you get hit?
For me, the biggest thing is I feel like we live in a silo, and sometimes we see people on these types of interviews or podcasts and they seem so out of reach. The cool thing about social media is no one is out of reach. If you are hearing me talking and you have a question for me or you want to connect, send me a DM. I reply to all of my DMs. I connect with people one-to-one all the time. People call me and they're like, I can't believe you picked up the phone. I'm like, yeah. Jason, yes, please share the Facebook group with all of your loan officers all over the country and all of the companies. It is not company agnostic. I started it with someone at Guaranteed Rate. I don't know if people know this. It is okay to make friends with people at other companies and in other coaching programs. We can all be one. It is okay. But my sole mission is like, how do we help raise up these women, give them support, have a community, have a connection. I love connecting with people. So if you are hearing me and there's something I said that you have a question about, Offer Ready, the Facebook group, whatever, DM me, text me. That's the glory of being a loan officer. Our numbers are literally all over the internet. So I am here.
Love that. And some of my closing thoughts, make sure you're following me on all social, but LinkedIn and YouTube is my jam. Every Tuesday, I do a post and a newsletter. So check that out if you are not subscribed to the Modern Mortgage Leadership newsletter on LinkedIn. Get subscribed. Every Tuesday morning around 7 o'clock, I put a post out. I love the 4th of July. It's always one of my favorite holidays. Thanksgiving and the 4th of July, I love. And this 4th of July, I was really, didn't work, other than I saw this post by Clayton Collins of Housing Wire, and it just inspired me. And so I did take a few minutes and wrote this post and just really talked about how much change loan officers can make in America. Like if literally loan officers go from being loan officers to being community builders, to being financial literacy first responders. We have a crisis in America around financial literacy. And if you follow Allison, you'll see she's pretty serious about educating people that follow her around building wealth with real estate. She's pretty serious about helping realtors help families build wealth with real estate in a way that helps them make more money. So I want to push everybody, lean in, be a community builder. Follow me, follow Todd, share this with your mortgage friends. Every Friday, 9 o'clock, we're live. And then I don't know exactly what time, but sometime today it will be syndicated everywhere. If someone was going to follow you, like what's your main jam? Like if there was one social media.
Instagram.
So Instagram's your main jam.
I'm a true millennial girl. Instagram is my jam.
Right on. And then remember, ladies only. Got a Facebook group, but they like all loan officers.
Yes.
I'm sure it's okay if female realtor wants to get in there.
Yes, absolutely.
So maybe like lean in to getting more realtors in that group. And then it could become kind of purpose and passion. It's addressing a purpose that you're serious about as a working mother. And then it could also become might help with some partnerships.
Yeah, absolutely. And just alignment. When you find people who are aligned in the same philosophy and values and systems and things like that, you just have a natural connection. And then they are the people you want to call on a Monday morning.
Roger that. Well, every time I'm on Zoom with you or I see you in person, I'm inspired. I always learn things, get ideas. Thank you, Allison.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's been great. Guys, have a great weekend. And this is a wrap. Take care, everybody.
Bye,
Cheers.
guys.